afternoon, everyone. I'm Jenny Montgomery. Thanks so much for joining us today. Well, the kids are all back in school now, and we've had the back-to-school shopping and the back-to-school haircuts, and a lot of organizations have taken the time to hold school supply drives for students who need them. A big organization that helps to spearhead all of that is the United Way of the CSRA. News Channel 6's Graham Lee reports.
Our office is really big on service. As you can see, we're out here cooking hot dogs and giving out, waters and Gatorade. So our big thing is making sure that we serve the people, not only to protect them, but to make them feel like they're a part of the community and they can come to us with any problems that they have.
This is the second year the Sheriff's Office has been involved, but the 15th for the drive. They're partnering with United Way of the CSRA to motivate those in the community to give their best for the students.
Giving your best says it all. We have people from the Board of Education donating supplies. We have different businesses, different companies from Burke County donating supplies. We have volunteers here from different businesses. So everybody is definitely bringing their best.
The key for everyone involved is to get the kids what they need to make this school year the best one yet.
A lot of kids in this area don't have access to school supplies, and we're trying to make sure that every kid, when they walk in on Monday, that they have a pencil, paper, and a notebook to be able to learn and to, make it to the next level.
We are super excited to see what happens with these school supplies. We know it's going to children in need right here in Burke County.
In Waynesboro, Graham Lee, WJBF, News Channel 6.
The United Way is such an important agency in our community. In fact, United Way of the CSRA identifies health and human service needs and helps folks get the resources they need to achieve their potential through education, healthy lifestyles, and financial stability. I think of it like an umbrella. United Way works to mobilize strengths of our nonprofit and government agencies, companies, and churches to serve the greatest good. Brittany Burnett is the president and CEO of United Way of the CSRA, and she is a survivor. I see her with a survivor sash, and that's because Brittany came to Augusta from the Atlanta area and was soon thrust into the challenges of operating during the pandemic. And as I know she will tell us, it meant pivoting and shifting focus to meet urgent needs during a time that none of us had experienced before. Brittany, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Jenny. Glad to be here.
I love it when you come to our show, and I think it's really important that we do talk about United Way, because I feel like people people hear it. People hear United Way of the CSRA, but do you really know what the United Way does? You've just seen a story about Stuff the Bus. That's a really big deal because you're raising school supplies for kids in schools all over the counties that we serve.
That's right, and that's just one of the many things we do, and we had great success with Stuff the Bus this year. In fact, we stuffed 5 full school buses.
5 school buses with supplies.
For our kids in the community, because we know that for many families, they're choosing between food and gas, clothes, or something else. And so many times school supplies are not built into the budget. And so by being able to provide these school supplies to kids who wouldn't have them otherwise, then they really do have the supplies they need for the very first day of school. But we also have to remember these kids still need newly sharpened pencils in November and February and throughout the school year.
Right.
So this drive would help make that possible.
And that's really good because you're not flooding everybody at the start, but you're kind of replenishing along the way.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And that's because of our partnership with the great school systems who know how to execute that part of it. But the community really stepped forward to fill all of those buses.
That's tremendous. I love it when we see that video on the news and we see how people do step up, when that call comes out. Right now in the United Way world, it is the Capital Fundraising Campaign, and the new campaign has started. What does that funding go toward?
So we recently kicked off our annual fundraising drive, and what I think is really important is most people, like you said, have heard of United Way, but they're not really sure what we do.
Right.
And so we really are always keeping our ear to the ground and our eyes open about the biggest needs and the biggest gaps in our community. So the funds that are given to United Way are helping fill those in 4 main areas of focus here in our community. And so we just launched our United Way campaign recently, and our theme this year is Together We Can. So knowing there's a lot of need in our community, but when we come together, when I give $5 a paycheck combined with your $5 a paycheck, combined with someone's $25 gift, when we all come together, we can meet all of those needs and fill those gaps.
And that's a really important, an important thing that Brittany just said. Your paycheck. How many of you at work, you have somebody in your organization that says, hey, we're gonna hear from somebody from the United Way. They make it so easy where, you know, every pay period, $5 can come out, or $10, or an amount that you don't even miss in your paycheck. But it goes to the United Way, and when everybody's pitching in a little bit, the gaps that can be filled are great.
That's exactly right. And our community is growing every single day, and the needs are evolving. And so by everyone coming together, we can ensure that everyone in our community is also thriving.
You know, when you talk about needs evolving, that was something you really did experience in the early days of the pandemic, and you created a helpline and so many different things that you had to just rise to the needs that were urgent then.
That's exactly right, and we're continuing to do that. So there were needs that have still hung over from the pandemic, and then there are just new needs. We know that families are continuing to struggle to make ends meet, and so that is new. There are more families struggling to do that, and so we want to be sure when our entire community contributes, then we can help all of those struggling families, so our community looks much different.
And if you do find yourself in a situation where you need help, they've really made it kind of like one-stop shopping down at the United Way office, which is in the first stop part of the Kroc Center, or the campus.
Yes, yeah. And so that's really the first stop for homeless prevention, because many families are one paycheck away from that. So when they go to the first stop, we can help connect them to various resources so they're not chasing them around on their own and expected to know how to navigate a very complex system.
Certainly, certainly. We're going to continue talking with Brittany in just a couple of minutes. We've got a break now for a commercial. Stay with us. We are talking today with Brittany Burnett, the president and CEO of United Way of the CSRA. And Brittany, I wanted to share with our viewers a little bit about your personal story too, as we're talking about the United Way. To begin with, you're a twin.
I am a twin. We're 3 minutes apart.
Yeah.
We look nothing alike. You could put us in a room with 100 people and you would not pick the two of us to be twins. But we are in fact twins.
Yes, yes, yes. And you grew up sort of, I think I've heard you say before that you sort of grew up with your parents. They were young, you had young parents.
Young parents. We grew up in the metro Atlanta area, and my parents were divorced when I was young. And actually, it wasn't until I got my job at United Way that I realized how much United Way supported my family as I was growing up. My parents were divorced, we were a single parent household, and we just needed some additional resources to help make ends meet and make sure that my twin sister and I were in safe and structured programs after school. We were involved in Girl Scouts and programs through the Y and the Red Cross, and didn't know how all of that fit together until I was a young adult and realized it was because of people's giving to United Way that our family had a different outcome.
Yeah. I love that, a different outcome. Another thing I love about Brittany is that she just, if there's a challenge, she's going to rise to it. And even as a young college student, she had taken on a Girl Scout troop. And this is a story that I have loved since about the first minute I met her and heard this story. She decided that, yes, we can sell us some Girl Scout cookies.
We sure did. So I was a college student and I raised my hand timidly to help with the Girl Scout troop. And the next thing you know, I was leading the troop of some 7- and 8-year-olds, all from single parent households. And we did all the fun. We earned lots of merit badges. And of course, the next thing was to sell cookies. And we sold about 750 boxes, which was quite, an aspirational feat for us.
Oh, yeah.
And then I heard that the
cookies. And those 750 boxes came in big
containers.
Boxes. Yeah.
But Jenny, they wouldn't actually deliver the cookies to us unless we had an order of 1,500 boxes.
Oh, wow.
So on a young, naive college student moment, I doubled the order, and we had 1,500 boxes to sell, which we had only pre-sold half of them. But we figured out with those girls, they learned a lot of great skills and definitely some badges from selling 1,500 boxes of cookies.
And how fun was it for you to have to store all those boxes of cookies until you sold them.
In our college apartment, we got real creative on the furniture that we made out of Girl Scout cookie boxes.
That is so funny. I love that story so much, and I think it just speaks to your personality. And when you look back over your life, I mean, when you think about that you experienced when you were in your early 20s probably, how the confidence that you gained from that might have just helped you get through the challenges of the pandemic all those years later.
I think so. And I grew up, my granddad, was really involved with Habitat. We built homes every Saturday morning.
Wow.
So it became part of kind of our DNA of what to do and how to help. And so when I was able to have this opportunity, when our family moved to lead this United Way, I realized there's still much work to be done. And I've been given the privilege and the honor to lead this organization for our community.
Well, we are certainly the ones who are benefiting from that. We're so glad you made the move here to Augusta. And thank you for the hard work you're doing with the United Way of the CSRA, Brittany.
Thanks, Jenny.
Brittany Burnett, everybody. We'll be right back.